Hi, this is Michael Lutz from Ocean of Minds Media House at the Frankfurt Book Fair 2018. I'm here with Caroline Fortin, General Manager from Quebec Amerique. Bonjour, madame.
Bonjour.
Caroline, please do us a favor and introduce yourself and your company.
Okay. Well, I'm the daughter of the founder of our publishing house, which is a French-Canadian publishing house based in Montreal that is nearly 45 years old now. We have a very various, extensive list and diverse list of books. We do fiction, non-fiction, reference, and cookbooks and everything. My dad also founded 28 years ago a division of our company that became a packager that we actually work really hard in Frankfurt because we sell a visual dictionary that we created. So that's another part of our company. And 4 years ago, we bought another publishing house, and we also have now a distribution house. So it's a small but a very versatile company.
So as I'm right, you have more than 40 employees, is this right?
Yes, in all with all the activity of it's about 45 for the publishing. I cannot count the distribution at that yet because we haven't worked on that yet. But in terms of publishing and doing the sales teams and everything, it's around 48 employees.
How do you get involved with new authors, or how do you generate new authors?
Well, we have a lot of in-house authors that we are carrying, for a long time. As term of new authors, we do publish a fair bit of new books and first novel. We mainly get a lot of manuscript through the post and everything that we go through, but we have a lot of also a big network of friends and publishers. We have in-house and outside editors that will go and meet different authors and try to get them to send us their manuscripts. So that's how we acquire. But it's a vast réseau of acquirement, really. It's contacts mostly, and the house has now a good history. It's known a fair bit in Quebec and in Canada, so a lot of new authors do send us their manuscript.
If an author wants to send you a manuscript, what should he do to make you happy, and what should he not do to make you not happy if you open an envelope or so?
Well, it needs to be a work that is inventive and surprising, and needs not to be something that we've seen before. I think that's what makes us more happy when we read something that is new. Well, it needs to be well written, obviously. It needs to be very captivating, I guess. In general sense, that's how I can really describe what else. I have no clue. It depends on each project. Each publishing project is different from the other. It depends what... Sadly, the market also is what guides what we want to do and what we don't want to do. It depends what people are reading in Canada. If you look at the bestseller list, you can see that there is a trends that changes every year, but there's different trends, and we're trying to keep up to those trends. Sometimes a book comes at the right time with the right subject.
Your next neighbor are the USA. I mean, this is also a big publishing country in New York, in Los Angeles, and so on. We Americans are pretty, I would say, more loud, depending to the Canadians, maybe more aggressive. How do you handle the colleagues from over the border?
Oh, well, if you have we're not an English publisher, so we publish in French. So we mostly look at what the France do than what the US do. That's for us. They're a bit of our competitors because they do send all their books to our market, and they do have they now. Many publishers has opened their own small French publisher from France, as Gallimard or Flammarion, they opened their small office in Montreal to be able to cater to our market. So they're the one that we're looking at much more than the US. But I guess if you talk to an English publisher, I'm pretty sure they will talk to you about all the publishing house in the US, how they have to compete with them. Because the market in English between Canada and the US is quite open. But for us, it's completely different. Canada is made up of two different and distinct markets of publishing. One is French language and the other one is English language. And even the rules of publishing are different from one to the other.
What is the difference in total for Canada depending to the US? Is there a particular difference you see?
Between the US and Canada? Well, the fact that we have two languages in our country and we have two markets, that's the main difference. In terms of it's difficult to differentiate, if you speak only to the English language books that you can see on the market in US and Canada. Most of the publishers, Canadian publishers, English Canadian publishers, they publish for the both market, which is understandable. It's the same language and all that. So is there a difference in terms of what being published? I wouldn't be the one that could say, because I'm mainly focused on what the French Canadian do. And I guess if you go around here and meet an English Canadian publisher, they will be able to tell you what is the difference with the US and the Canada. So.
Okay, let's have an outlook into the future. We are right now in a digital revolution. We have since a couple of years a new medium. It's called e-book. How do you see the future as a publisher, let's say for the next 5 to 10 years? What do the publishers have to expect for the future?
Again, there is a difference between the French and English in that term. I would say French Canada ebooks sales, they actually reached their top and are now slowly getting a bit lower than it. So I don't think we'll get more interest in the ebook section. I don't think the ebook has taken on the weight that publishers on our market thought it would. And some area of publishing, some genre, some subject might have better success with ebook, but I would say it's not as important as we think it was. I think the most challenging thing now with all the digital era and all the multimedia is getting the attention of the reader. And the thing is now with all the Facebook and the social media, people that do read less book than they used to because they are now distracted by so many things. There is blogs, there is endless amount of things to read. So I think that's the biggest challenge of a book publisher. And I believe that the book will always maintain, the physical book will always stay there because it's something that is, it brings emotion. You can touch it. You can give it as a present. You cannot give an e-book to someone. There is various ways you could do it, but it's not a nice thing that you can wrap as a present. I think a book will remain as more important than the digital.
Okay, at first, for decades or centuries, books are printed in a classic way. A publisher cooperates with a printer, and this printer prints 1,500 or 3,000 copies, and you have to store them, and you have to hope and to pray that this pile of books will be so. Yeah, exactly. Since 15, 20 years, we have print on demand. What do you think, also an outlook into the future? Right now, the most publishers still print the classic way, and print on demand is not really in the use. But do you think that print on demand will become more and more interesting for publishers, and maybe in a few years there will be a change from the classic to the print-on-demand technology?
Well, I cannot foresee in a few years that print-on-demand will become the major way of delivering books, because I think the quality of the print, with a print-on-demand book, which is very constrained to one or two format, one kind of paper, just, they are now developing new technology, so print on demand looks better. I think it is a very important part of publishing, and I foresee in my business, instead of dying a book that only sells like 3 or 4 copies, a season, I can maintain it, and I think it's the best for the authors. It's the best for the clients, that the reader that suddenly will just wants to read that book. And I think we are making effort in our house to be able to provide that. But the technology doesn't permit us to do it for all children, colorful book, and out the size book. They're not, So there's a challenge in technology to maybe have more and more print on demand. I think at the moment, all the print on demand that we have on our market, it's always the same format. So for novel, it's perfect. But so yes, I believe in this. I mainly believe as well into the web sales. People finding the book they want to read online and buying it online and receiving through I think people are now more and more buying online many things, specifically in North America. I would say that Amazon has brought that aspect into buying, and people do buy more and more online. So with that, we can deliver print on demand much easier, and people can find through search engine something that they want. So I believe that we should maintain all the books and try to be able to deliver it as a print on demand. Will it become as important as the real print? I'm not sure. Wait and see.
Last questions. Which book do you read right now?
I'm reading a manuscript at the moment of that we're going to publish in the spring. A novel. It's very nice. It's about Alan Turing, and it's like the novel of the life of Alan Turing. So it's written by a Quebecer, a French Canadian, and everybody in our house is looking forward to releasing that book. So they really want me to read it, because when I like something, I can go a long way to sell it. So, and I love it very much. Sadly enough, I don't have time in Frankfurt to read. So.
Okay, Caroline, thanks a lot for the time for this interview.
Thank you very much. Have a good visit.
Okay, Michael Lutz, Ocean of Minds Media House from Frankfurt Book Fair 2018. See you later. Bonsoir.